I lay in that hospital bed with my eyes cracked open just enough to see through my lashes, pretending the morphine had pulled me under. The machines beeped their steady rhythm beside me. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Everything smelled like antiseptic and lies. Through the blur of my barely open eyes, I watched them. My son Knox and his wife Sloan, standing over my bed like a state agent surveying property. "We should list it by April," Sloan whispered, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "The spring market is insane right now. Once she's gone, we got the whole first floor. That kitchen makes me physically ill." My heart monitor didn't falter. I kept my breathing slow, rhythmic, practiced. But inside my chest, something ancient and furious cracked open like an egg. Bryce said we could get 900,000, maybe more if we stage it right, Knox said. My boy, my only son. The child I'd carried for 9 months and raised for 33 years. They were planning my estate sale while my body was still warm. If you've ever been written off by the people you die for, stay right here. Because what I did next, let's just say they never saw me coming. Hit that subscribe button right now, because if your family ever tries this, you'll want to know exactly how I handled it. Trust me. 33 years ago, I held Knox in my arms while his father, Richard, loaded his BMW and drove away from us both. Knox was 4 months old. Colic kept him screaming through the night, and I was making $13 an hour managing a doctor's office. Richard left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm not cut out for this. The house is yours. Good luck. Good luck." Like fatherhood was a carnival game he'd lost. I worked doubles. I worked weekends. I sold my mother's engagement ring to pay for Knox's orthodontics when he was 12. When he got accepted to Chapel Hill, I took out a second mortgage on the house my parents left me, the Victorian on Ashford Lane with the wraparound porch and the crepe myrtle trees that bloomed like pink fireworks every June. Knox graduated with honors, 0 debt, a finance degree and a job offer in Charlotte. I was 50 with a mortgage that would follow me to 75. Then he met Sloan Cavendish at some corporate mixer. She arrived at our first dinner wearing all white, from her silk blouse to her designer heels, like she was attending a baptism where she was both the saint and the congregation. Her handshake was limp. Her smile was cold, and her eyes scanned my living room the way health inspectors examine gas station bathrooms. "Oh," she said, running one manicured finger along my grandmother's mahogany credenza. "You still have furniture from what era exactly? Colonial?" Knox laughed. My son actually laughed. "Mom's sentimental about everything," he said, like sentiment were a personality disorder. I should have known then, should have seen the red flags waving like surrender flags in a hurricane. But I told myself mothers always struggle with daughters-in-law. That's what the magazine said. That's what my friend Cordelia told me over coffee. Give her time. She's just territorial. Territorial. Like I was a threat to be neutralized. Sloan had plans. Big plans. I just didn't know I was the obstacle standing in her way. I spent 4 days preparing that meal. Turkey brined in apple cider and herbs, cornbread stuffing made from my grandmother's recipe, sweet potato casserole with the pecan praline topping Knox had loved since he was 6 years old, homemade rolls, 3 pies. My back ached. My feet swelled. But this was our tradition. Sloan walked in at 2 o'clock carrying a store-bought pumpkin pie still sealed in its plastic container, her designer purse worth more than my monthly mortgage payment. "We can't stay long," she announced before even removing her coat. "We have dinner with my parents at 6. Mother's expecting us." I'd set the dining room table with my mother's Wedgwood china. Lit candles, arranged fresh flowers. Put on Sinatra because Knox used to stand on my feet and dance with me in the kitchen when he was small enough to think I was magic. They stayed 53 minutes. I counted. "This is very rustic," Sloan said, pushing green bean casserole around her plate like it might contaminate her. "Knox's cardiologist mentioned he needs to watch his cholesterol. All this butter can't be good for him." Knox had never seen a cardiologist. His cholesterol was perfect. "I'm fine, Mom." Knox said when I looked at him for backup, but he wouldn't meet my eyes, kept his gaze fixed on his phone like it held the secrets to the universe. Sloan checked her watch every 5 minutes, made a show of it. When they left, I sat alone at that table for 3 hours, staring at the untouched food, the unlit birthday candles I'd hidden in the kitchen drawer, planning to surprise Knox with his childhood tradition. That should have been my first warning, but I made excuses. Work stress, new marriage adjustments. I was a fool. 6 months later, they visited on a Sunday. Unannounced, Sloan was 4 months pregnant, showing just enough to make it real. "We need to talk about your situation," Sloan said, settling onto my sofa like a queen assuming her throne. She was wearing head-to-toe Lululemon, her baby bump displayed like a trophy. "My situation?" "This house, Evelyn." She gestured around my living room like she was indicating a crime scene. "It's too big for one person. You're 62. What happens when you can't manage the stairs? What happens when you fall and no one finds you for days?" My throat tightened. "I'm perfectly healthy." "For now," Sloan said. "But Knox and I have been researching. There's a lovely assisted living facility near us. Garden views, activities, people your own age." "I'm not moving into a nursing home." "It's not a nursing home. It's independent living." She pulled out her phone, started swiping through photos like she was selling timeshares. "Look how nice it is. And think about how much easier life would be. No maintenance, no property taxes eating your retirement." Knox sat silent beside her, examining his cuticles. "We could help you sell," Sloan continued. "My cousin Bryce is a real estate agent. He specializes in estate sales. He said this neighborhood is hot right now. Developers are buying up everything. You could make enough to live comfortably for years." "This is my home. It's just a building, Evelyn." Sloan's smile was sharp enough to draw blood. "Buildings are things. Family is what matters. And right now, your family needs your help." She touched her belly, deliberate, calculated. "We need a down payment for a bigger house, something with a yard for the baby, good schools, safe neighborhood. You understand?" I understood perfectly. I was supposed to sacrifice my home so she could upgrade hers. "I'll think about it," I lied. "Don't think too long," Sloan said, standing. "At your age, decisions need to be made while you're still capable of making them." Knox finally spoke. "What Sloan means is, we just want to make sure you're taken care of." But his eyes said something different. His eyes said, "Please don't make this harder than it needs to be." They left. I sat in my grandmother's chair and cried for the first time in a decade, but I was too loyal to see what was really coming. My 65th birthday fell on a Thursday. I woke up expecting the phone to ring. Knox had never missed my birthday. Never. Not in 33 years. By noon, nothing. By 3, I texted, "Thanks for remembering today." 8 hours later, "Sorry, Mom, crazy week at work. We'll make it up to you." They didn't. But Sloan posted 17 Instagram stories that same day. Shopping. Lunch at some trendy restaurant. A massage appointment. Her pregnant belly professionally photographed in golden hour light. She had time for social media, just not for me. When Delilah was born, I drove 2 hours through a thunderstorm to the hospital. I'd spent 6 months hand-stitching a quilt, each square telling a story. Knox's first baseball game, our trip to the Outer Banks, the crepe myrtles blooming in our yard. I arrived at the hospital with flowers, the quilt, and a heart full of hope. Sloan's hospital room looked like a flower shop had exploded. Balloons, gift baskets. Her family crowded around, taking photos, passing the baby between them like a coveted prize. I stood in the doorway holding my quilt. "Oh, Evelyn," Sloan said, barely glancing up. "You didn't have to come all this way." "I wanted to meet my granddaughter." "Of course." She gestured vaguely. "You can hold her for a minute, but she needs to eat soon." I held Delilah for exactly 7 minutes, counted every second, memorized her face, the way her tiny fingers curled, the baby smell of her scalp. Then Sloane's mother returned from the cafeteria, and suddenly the room was too crowded. "Maybe give us some space," Sloane said. "First time mom nerves." I left the quilt on a chair. No one thanked me. No one opened it. 3 weeks later, I saw it listed on Facebook Marketplace. Handmade baby quilt, never used, $40. They bought a house in Pemberton Heights, a colonial with 5 bedrooms, a 3-car garage, and a pool I knew Knox would never maintain. I offered to help with the down payment. $12,000 from my retirement account, money I'd been saving for emergencies. "That's so generous, Mom," Knox said over the phone. "You really don't have to." But he took it. Cashed the check within 24 hours. Sloane planned a housewarming party. I bought a new dress. Nothing fancy, but appropriate. Made my famous lemon squares. The ones Knox used to steal from the cooling rack when he was 8. The invitation arrived via text. "Small gathering, just our immediate circle and Sloane's family. You understand. We'll have you over for dinner soon." Soon never came. But I saw the pictures online. 80 people. Catered food, a bartender. String lights in the backyard. Sloane's mother cutting the ribbon on the front door like it was a grand opening. I sat in my kitchen eating lemon squares alone, tasting the bitterness of my own stupidity. That should have been my wake-up call. But even then, I made excuses. The chest pain started on a Wednesday morning, sharp, radiating down my left arm and up into my jaw. I knew what it meant. My father went the same way. I called Knox. "Hey, Mom, kind of in the middle of something. Can I call you back?" "Knox, I think I'm having a heart attack." Silence. Then, "Okay, stay calm. Call 911. I'll meet you at the hospital." He didn't meet me. I called 911 myself, rode in the ambulance alone, gave my medical history to strangers while my son was in the middle of something. They admitted me to St. Catherine's for observation, ran tests, hooked me up to machines that beeped and hummed and made me feel like I was already dying. Sloane arrived at 11 p.m., annoyed, checking her phone every 30 seconds like my potential death was keeping her from something important. "The doctors say it's probably just stress," she told me, not unkindly, but not kindly either. "You need to relax, Evelyn. Stop worrying about everything. Where's Knox? Home with Delilah. Someone has to watch her." Sloane's mother was watching her. I'd seen the Instagram story. They gave me morphine around midnight. Everything went soft, distant. The room became watercolor. Voices became waves. I heard them before I saw them. Knox must have arrived after I'd closed my eyes. I felt his presence before I heard his voice. "How long are they keeping her?" Knox asked. "Probably through the weekend." Sloane, close, near the foot of my bed. Honestly, this might be a blessing in disguise. "What do you mean?" "Knox, look at her. She's falling apart. This is the beginning of the end." Footsteps, the rustle of fabric. "We need to have a serious conversation about her situation," Sloane continued. "That house is too much for her. She admitted she can't keep up with maintenance. It's time." "Time for what?" "Assisted living. She needs professional care. And we need that equity." My heart monitor beeped steadily. I kept my eyes closed, kept my breathing even. Every word carved itself into my memory like names on a tombstone. "Bryce ran the numbers," Sloane said. "If we list by spring, we could clear 900,000. Maybe more if we stage it right. Gut the kitchen. Update the bathrooms, fresh paint. The bones are good." "Jesus, Sloane, she's not even dead yet." "But she will be. Knox, be realistic. She's 65, high blood pressure, now heart problems. We need to be prepared. We need to be smart." A long silence. I imagined my son's face, imagined him weighing his mother's life against real estate value. "What are you suggesting?" Knox finally asked. "We convince her to move into assisted living. Tell her it's for her own good, her health, her safety. Once she's settled, we sell fast. Use the money to pay off our mortgage. Set up Delilah's college fund. Actually live the life we're supposed to be living." "I don't know." "Knox." Sloane's voice hardened. Your mother is barely living anyway. That house is wasted on her. She sits in it alone, drowning in memories. We'd be doing her a favor. What if she says no? She won't have a choice. We'll tell the doctors she can't live independently. Get a social worker involved. You're her only family. You make the decisions. More footsteps, the squeak of Knox's shoes on linoleum. I need to think about it. Think fast. I already scheduled a meeting with Bryce for next week. He wants to do a walkthrough. They stayed another hour, played the concerned family when nurses entered, talked about the weather, about Delilah's first words, about nothing that mattered. When they finally left, I opened my eyes and stared at the water-stained ceiling tiles. My son had learned his father's cruelty, but Richard had been honest in his cowardice. Knox was worse. Knox hid his betrayal behind concern. I'd raised a stranger wearing my child's face, but strangers don't know your secrets, don't know your strength, don't know what you're capable of when you've finally had enough. Drop a comment right now and tell me, have you ever been betrayed by family? Because what I did next, I want to know if you would have done the same. Let's talk about it. They discharged me Friday afternoon. Knox sent a text. Glad you're okay. Let's do dinner next week. Dinner never happened, but I was done waiting for crumbs from my own son. Monday morning, I called Cordelia Marsh, the attorney who'd handled my parents' estate 20 years ago, sharp as a tack at 71, still wore power suits, still won every case. Cordelia, I need to protect myself from my family. We met at her office that afternoon. I told her everything. She took notes on a legal pad, her face expressionless. When I finished, she looked up and smiled. Evelyn, we're going to destroy them. Legally, completely, and they'll never see it coming. First thing, we changed my will, made it ironclad, added clauses that would make it impossible to contest. Second, we set up an irrevocable trust. The house would never be inherited. Upon my death, it would become property of the County Historical Society, preserved as a landmark. They'll get nothing, Cordelia said. Not a dollar, not a doorknob. Third, documentation. I started recording every phone call, saved every text message, built a file that would make prosecutors weep with joy. Knox called that Wednesday. Hey, Mom, how are you feeling? Tired, I said. Weak. Sloane and I were talking. We're worried about you in that big house. Have you thought about our conversation about assisted living? I've been thinking about a lot of things, Knox. Good, because we want to help. We found a place called Meadowbrook. They have an opening. We could tour it this weekend. That's very thoughtful. So you'll think about it? I'll think about everything. I contacted Pierce Drummond, a private investigator Cordelia recommended. Former FBI, now 63 and bored of retirement. I don't want you to catch them cheating, I told him over coffee. I want to know exactly what they're planning. Every detail, every conversation, everything. Pierce was thorough. Within 10 days, I had copies of bank statements, emails, text messages. They'd contacted 4 real estate agents, already discussed renovation budgets, already calculated their profit margins. Sloane had created a Pinterest board titled Ashford Lane Renovation Project. My house, my memories, her investment property. She'd pinned images of white marble countertops, subway tile backsplashes, open concept floor plans, everything that would erase me. I opened a new bank account at a different bank, transferred my savings, changed passwords on everything, called the credit bureaus and froze my credit. Then I started performing. I became the confused elderly woman they expected, called Knox with small problems, a dripping faucet, a strange noise in the basement, trouble with the remote control. I can't figure out how to change the channel, I told him. Everything's so complicated now. Mom, just press the input button. Which one is that? He sighed. Sent handymen instead of coming himself. Perfect. The handymen were Pierce's people. They installed cameras disguised as smoke detectors, documented every square inch of my house, set up audio recording in every room. I pretended to forget things, asked the same questions twice, missed appointments I deliberately scheduled, Sloane's texts to Knox. Your mom is really losing it. This is actually working in our favor. She'll be easier to convince. I played weak, frail, forgetful. But I was documenting everything, building a case, preparing for war. I invited them for Sunday dinner, cooked pot roast, Knox's favorite. How are you managing, Mom? Knox asked, cutting his meat with exaggerated care, like I might not notice him studying me. Oh, it's hard, I said. The stairs are getting difficult. I fell last week. I hadn't fallen, but I watched Sloane's eyes light up. Did you hurt yourself? She asked, leaning forward. Just bruised my hip, but it scared me. This is exactly what we've been worried about, Knox said. Maybe you're right, I said quietly. About assisted living. Maybe it's time. Sloane's fork clattered against her plate. Really? I don't want to be a burden. You're not a burden, Mom. Knox's voice carried relief. We just want you safe. I'd need help, I said. Going through the house, deciding what to keep. It's overwhelming. We'll handle everything, Sloane said quickly, too quickly. You don't have to worry about a thing. And the house? We'll take care of that, too. Bryce will make sure you get a fair price. I bet he would. After taking his commission and splitting the profits with them. Thank you, I whispered. I don't know what I'd do without you. The lie tasted like poison on my tongue, but the best revenge is served cold, and I was about to create an ice age. Knox's 34th birthday fell on a Saturday. Sloane planned a party at their house. Catered food, full bar, 60 guests. She'd hired a photographer. She invited me via text. Knox's birthday party, Saturday at 7. You should come. The lack of enthusiasm was palpable even through text. I'll be there, I replied. I spent that week preparing, not just mentally, physically. I got my hair done, bought a new dress. Nothing extravagant, but dignified. My mother's pearls, her diamond earrings that had survived the Depression. I wanted to look like someone who'd won. I assembled a gift, a leather-bound album I'd created myself, each page carefully curated, printed, protected in plastic sleeves. Saturday arrived. I drove to their house at 6:30, early, deliberate. Sloane answered the door in a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. Her smile was thin. Evelyn, you're early. I wanted to help. Everything's handled, but come in. Their house was decorated like a magazine spread. Balloon arrangements, floral centerpieces, string lights everywhere. A table full of expensive gifts already wrapped and displayed. Guests started arriving. Sloane's friends, Knox's colleagues. People who wouldn't recognize me if I introduced myself as the woman who'd made Knox possible. I waited. Patient, quiet, invisible. They gathered in the living room for cake. Knox stood in the center, Sloane beside him, Delilah on her hip. The photographer snapped pictures. Everyone held champagne glasses. Phones came out, ready to capture the perfect moment. I stood. Knox, I said, my voice carrying across the room. I have something for you. Conversation stopped. All eyes turned. Sloane's smile tightened at the edges. I walked to him, carrying the album. I made this for you. Memories. Knox took it, smiled uncertainly. Thanks, Mom. Open it, I said, please. I want everyone to see. He opened the album. Page 1. A photo of Knox at 3 years old, grinning with chocolate ice cream all over his face. Page 2. His high school graduation. Me standing beside him, proud. Page 3. His college acceptance letter from Chapel Hill. Page 4. A copy of his birth certificate. Father, Richard Brennan. Mother, Evelyn Brennan. Page 5. Loan documents for my second mortgage. Amount $83,000. Purpose, education. Knox's face started to change, color draining like water from a tub. Keep going, I said gently. Page 6. Hospital bills from his childhood, every broken arm, every emergency room visit, every illness, all paid in full by me. Page 7. Screenshots of text messages between Knox and Sloan. We need that house. She won't last much longer. Bryce says we can get $900K easy. The kitchen makes me want to vomit, but the bones are good. The room fell silent. You could hear the ice melting in drinks. Page 8. Sloan's Pinterest board. Ashford Lane renovation project. White kitchens, open concepts, everything that would erase me. Page 9. Email correspondence with real estate agents, subject lines, estate sale timeline, and property value assessment. Page 10. A printed transcript of their conversation in my hospital room. Every word. Time-stamped. Documented. Your mother is barely living anyway. That house is wasted on her. Knox's hands started shaking. Mom, I can explain. Explain what? My voice stayed calm, steady. Explain how you planned to put me in a home so you could sell my house. Explain how you discussed my death like a real estate closing. Explain how you brought a real estate agent to evaluate my home while I was still living in it. That's private information, Sloan hissed, grabbing for the album. How did you… Private. I turned to face her. You made it public when you posted about it online, when you texted your friends about your inheritance windfall, when you measured my bedroom for your future nursery. The photographer was still taking pictures. Guests had their phones out, recording everything. I hired investigators, I continued, because when your family treats you like an obstacle to be removed, you protect yourself. Cordelia Marsh stepped forward from where she'd been standing near the kitchen. She wore her courtroom suit, carried a briefcase. Good evening, Cordelia said, her voice cutting through the stunned silence. I'm Mrs. Brennan's attorney. I'm here to inform you that 6 weeks ago, Evelyn established an irrevocable trust. The house on Ashford Lane will never be sold. Upon her death, which I hope is many years from now, it becomes property of the County Historical Society, preserved as a landmark. No inheritors, no appeals, no loopholes. Sloan's face went crimson. You can't. It's already done, Cordelia said. Filed with the county, ironclad. Pierce Drummond emerged from the crowd. He'd been there the whole time, blending in. He handed Knox a manila folder. Evidence of conspiracy to commit elder abuse, Pierce said. Financial exploitation, fraud, every text message, every recorded conversation, every plan you made. He handed Sloan a second folder. Pinterest boards don't hold up in court, but they do make excellent exhibits. Knox looked at the album still in his hands, at his mother, at the 60 witnesses recording everything. I'm sorry, he whispered. No, I said. You're embarrassed. There's a difference. We were just planning ahead. You were planning my funeral while I could still hear you. You valued my house more than my life. You calculated my death like a quarterly dividend. Tears ran down Knox's face. Real or performed, I couldn't tell anymore. I gave you everything, I said. I sold my mother's jewelry for your braces. I mortgaged my future for your education. I chose you over my own security every single day of your life. My voice didn't break. I wouldn't give them that. And you paid me back by measuring my bedroom. I turned to the crowd. 60 phones, 60 witnesses, 60 people who'd post this online before the night ended. My son and his wife waited for me to die, I said clearly. They planned it, calculated it, profited from it before it even happened. And now you've all seen exactly who they are. I looked at Sloan. That kitchen you hate? The one that makes you physically ill? I cooked every meal Knox ever ate in that kitchen. Every birthday cake, every Christmas dinner, every celebration of every milestone of his entire life. I looked at Knox. I hope the house was worth it. I hope every time you drive past it you remember what you traded. Because you didn't just lose an inheritance. You lost your mother. I turned to leave. Stopped at the door. Happy birthday, Knox. I hope it was everything you wanted. The silence followed me out. I heard it shatter behind me, voices erupting, arguments starting, the photographer's camera clicking frantically. By midnight, it was online. By morning, it was everywhere. The video had 12 million views by Tuesday. Tell me in the comments, did I go too far? Or did they deserve exactly what they got? I need to know what you think. And hit subscribe, because karma always comes around, and I want you ready when it does. The video went viral beyond anything I'd imagined. Woman exposes son's plot to steal her home. Trended on Twitter for 4 days. TikTok exploded with reactions. News stations called. Morning shows wanted interviews. I declined them all. Let the video speak for itself. Knox's firm called Monday morning. He was placed on indefinite administrative leave while they reviewed the situation. Corporate America doesn't like viral scandals. Bad for the brand. Sloane's book club dropped her. Her yoga studio asked her not to return. Parents at Delilah's preschool stopped making eye contact. Sloane's mother called me. I was there, she said. I saw everything. I filmed it myself and posted it before Sloane could stop me. Why? Because I raised her better than this, or at least I thought I did. I'm ashamed. She sent me a handwritten apology. Old-fashioned, sincere. Knox lost friends. People who'd attended the party, seen the evidence, decided they wanted no part of his life anymore. His neighbor stopped waving. His barista started spelling his name wrong on purpose. Small cruelties that add up. Sloane filed for divorce 9 weeks later. The court documents were public record. She got the house in Pemberton Heights. Knox got the mortgage debt and a reputation that preceded him everywhere he went. He called me once, 3 months after the party. Mom? Yes? I don't know what to say. Then don't say anything. Silence on the line. I could hear him breathing, crying. Maybe. Can I ask you something? His voice was small, young, like he was 7 again, asking if monsters were real. Go ahead. Did you ever love me? The question punched the air from my lungs. Every single day of your life, I said. That's why this hurts so much. Can I fix this? I don't know, Knox. Can you? Because fixing this means facing what you did, not what you got caught doing, what you actually did. I was weak. Sloane pushed, and I went along. You're 34 years old. Stop blaming your wife for your choices. More silence. Can Delilah see her grandmother? He asked finally. She asks about you. I show her pictures of you on my phone. My chest tightened. Delilah, the granddaughter I barely knew. Not through you, I said. When she's old enough to call me herself, my number won't change. Until then, I need distance. I understand. Do you? Because understanding means accepting consequences, and right now you're just sorry you got caught. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed, bitter. You planned my estate sale while I was in a hospital bed. You want to talk about fair? I hung up, blocked his number, deleted his contact. Cordelia helped me update everything legally. The trust was solid. The house was protected. Knox would inherit nothing. What about Delilah? Cordelia asked. Years from now? Set up a separate trust, I said. $20,000. She gets it when she turns 25. If she wants to know me, the door's open, but only if she comes looking. I started volunteering at the county women's shelter, taught financial literacy classes, helped women recognize financial abuse, helped them escape situations where family members tried to control them through money. I wasn't just surviving, I was rebuilding as someone stronger, and I did it without them. Some people say I destroyed my family. I say I revealed what was already broken. There's a difference between love and performance. Love shows up, performance posts on Instagram. I gave Knox everything. He wanted more than everything. He wanted the house I built before he existed, the life I created that made his life possible. The house on Ashford Lane still stands exactly as it always has, crepe myrtles blooming pink every June, porch where I drink morning coffee and watch the neighborhood wake up. I'm 67 now, healthy, thriving. The chest pains were stress-induced, my body recognizing betrayal before my mind accepted it. The Historical Society sends someone once a month to photograph and document everything. They're creating an archive. Future generations will walk through and see how people lived, how families loved, how betrayal looks in real time. Some mornings, I sit in my grandmother's chair and think about forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't automatic. It's not obligatory. It's earned through changed behavior, not apologies. Knox would have to become someone completely different, someone willing to acknowledge that he valued my death more than my life, someone willing to sit with that ugliness without making excuses. I don't know if he's capable of that transformation. Maybe. People change, but I'm not waiting to find out. My friend Cordelia stops by for coffee every Wednesday. Pierce comes by occasionally to check the cameras, make sure I'm safe. The neighbors wave. Remember my name, ask genuine questions and wait for real answers. That's family. The kind you choose when the kind you're born into forgets what love actually means. Would I do it differently? No. Would I take Knox back if he showed up tomorrow with genuine remorse? I don't know. That depends on whether he's sorry for what he did or sorry it cost him everything. There's a difference. Would I do it to protect someone else in my situation? Absolutely, without hesitation. Because here's what I learned. You teach people how to treat you. And when you accept disrespect, you tell them it's acceptable. I'm done accepting, done performing, done shrinking myself to make others comfortable. The house will stand long after I'm gone. Not as Knox's inheritance, not as Sloane's renovation project, but as proof that some things, some people, can't be bought, sold, or erased. 3 weeks ago, I received a letter, forwarded through Cordelia's office. It was from Delilah. She's 5 now, learning to write. Dear Grandma Evelyn, I miss you. Mommy showed me pictures. You look nice. Can I visit? Love, Delilah. The handwriting was careful, the kind that takes concentration. An adult had helped her, but the sentiment was hers. I haven't responded yet. I don't know if I should, but I kept the letter, put it in my grandmother's credenza, next to the photos of Knox as a child, the ones where he still looked at me like I was magic. Maybe someday, when Delilah's old enough to understand, I'll tell her the story, the whole story, not the viral video version, the real one, about sacrifice and love and betrayal. About how sometimes the people you die for are the ones planning your funeral, and about how you rise up anyway, how you protect yourself, how you refuse to be erased. Maybe that's the inheritance she needs, not a house, not money, but the truth. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to choose yourself over family? What happened? How did you survive it? Your story matters. Share it below. And if you've made it this far, you know what to do. Subscribe. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that we're all one betrayal away from needing to know exactly how to fight back.